While Ahsoka and Asha enjoy the morning sun at Chester Zoo, their cubs are inside, receiving medical treatment under the concerned gaze of headkeeper Alan Woodward. 3 days ago, the newborn cubs were on the brink of death when their mother Asha failed to care for them properly.
It's like a life and death situation, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
The team decided to remove the cubs, but their lives still hung in the balance.
Just because we've removed them doesn't mean they're now definitely going to survive. We've still got 2 very poorly, very weak cubs.
Under Alan's care, they've been making steady progress.
Obviously, the longer you go, the more out of the danger zone you are.
Alan has a hotline to zoo vets James Chatterton and Steve Unwin, who have spotted a problem with the cubs' stomachs.
Last night I examined him because his belly button, his navel had become quite swollen. It was just hot and inflamed, so I was concerned that he was getting an infection. So we started him on antibiotics last night, and Alan's been bathing it with this Pevidine, this antiseptic scrub. An attentive mum would clean this and it'd dry up really quickly. But obviously these cubs haven't been attended to really in the first day they were alive because mum pretty much ignored them, and that means that their natural defences are going to be a little bit weaker than a normal cub's too. Come here, kiddo.
This bit on that side.
Unfortunately, you have to have it cleaned again.
Very quick.
They might not be in the best of health, but the cubs' vocal cords seem to be working fine.
Just go off me. I'm sorry.
That's what your numbers do.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking, yes. Well, he can't see me, he can smell me. So, yes.
This man you want to eat, not me. Okay.
Maybe got cold hands or something. No, it's fine. It doesn't look too red and inflamed. It's just, you know, it's a bit thickened, isn't it? So
Yeah.
he's quieter when he's the right way up, obviously. So
He looks much, much better than he did even the one when I saw him last night, really. So they both look like they're improving. They're not out of the woods yet, and they've got a little way to go before we can relax anymore.
The cubs have not yet opened their eyes. Every day that passes is a triumph. And though tired, Alan is feeling confident about the cubs' chances.
I'm extremely happy about their progress at the moment. They seem to be coming on in leaps and bounds. I feel a bit frazzled today, but it's all worth it, yeah, definitely.
At the Bird Incubation Centre, senior keeper Lara Jordan is about to reap the rewards of an intensive month's work.
We've got 3 West African crown craned eggs. This one's just about to hatch out. You can just see that's his beak there, and the little white dot on the end, that's the egg tooth. So that's what they use. They have a little lump on their beak, and that's what breaks the shell.
If all goes well, in a few months' time, the baby emerging from this small egg will become one of these. A West African crown crane. A majestic bird that's declining rapidly due to drought and deforestation in its natural habitat. Only a few thousand remain in the wild, so to boost numbers, the team at Chester employs an ingenious technique known as double clutching. Once the mother lays a clutch of eggs, the team removes them. This encourages mum to lay a second clutch, resulting in twice as many babies. Incubating the first clutch of eggs artificially is challenging work, but the next few moments will make it all worthwhile.
He's strong, he's calling, and he just needs to push a bit more and he'll be out.
Lara mimics the crane's call to encourage the chick to force its way out.
Oh, another big crack there. You can see that the chick's been trying to get out for a while now. So I'm going to just give it a little assist and just sort of crack off the last bit of shell that it's struggling. So there's a crack all the way around to here. I can't see any dry membrane. It's all soft, so it should be okay. So he should be able to do the rest himself now. I'm trying. I've just got my head and my foot stuck on the side of the egg. So you can see he's got his head out, which was the bit that was causing his problem. And he'll probably just have a little nap now, get to sleep for a bit, and then he'll use his feet and push off that bottom bit. And his umbilical cord will dry out, and hopefully we'll have a healthy chick.
Chester has the best record in Europe for breeding West African crown cranes, and Lara is pleased to be part of another success story.
Yeah, it's good news. It's 30 days incubation, so he's finally hatched. Hopefully he'll be healthy and well.
Lara will return in a few hours once the chick has woken from its well-deserved nap. It's 9:30 a.m, but in the free-flying bat cave, a special lighting system that turns day into night means that dusk is fast approaching. Senior keeper James Andrews has received word of a new arrival in the Rodrigues fruit bat colony.
At any given time, out of our Rodrigues fruit bats, there may be 7, 8, 9 females that could potentially have new births, so we check for those.
Confirming the birth could prove challenging. Chester has the largest bat cave in Europe, with more than 80 of these unique animals under one roof.
You don't always necessarily see the infant itself. Oftentimes it appears as a bulge underneath the wing. There's just one there. I just wanted to flick her wings open a bit or turn around a bit, but she ain't playing. Just last ditch effort to try and get this bat to open her wings, but no, she's not going to. She's resolutely unperturbed.
The lights are going down, and James has food to prepare for the rest of the bats. But just as he's about to call it a day, something catches his eye.
Yeah, there she is, cleaning her wings now. You can see the youngster attached to her quite well there.
The baby, called a pup, will remain attached for a number of weeks, and like other mammals, will suckle milk from its mother.
We'll wait for the youngster to be a couple of weeks old before catching them, and that's when they'll get microchipped. Similar sort of deal as microchipping your pet dog.
In the meantime, the colony needs feeding, and it's a big task. The Rodrigues bats share the cave with more than 500 Seba bats and 4 Livingston bats, one of the largest species of bat in the world.
So they've got those big round ears, and although the big fruit bats don't have echolocation, they've got a good sense of hearing, and you'll see them moving them to sort of triangulate in to tell exactly where sounds are coming from. So they've got very sort of mobile ears, these little sort of radar dishes sort of listening out. It's about to get dark in here. As evening kicks in, that's when the bats start their day. So I'm going to go and get some food and start making sure there's something for them to eat.
James hurries to put out all the food before the lights fade and the public enters the cave.
When you first come in, after a minute or so, you think your eyes are adjusted, but it really does take a good long while to get properly adjusted. If you have to nip out for a reason, it's always a good idea to close one eye and you retain your night vision on that side, so then when you come back in, the eye you've kept open you can't see a thing, but at least you can see with the one you keep closed.
The Bat Cave is one of only 2 exhibits at Chester where animals and people occupy the same space. For James, it's routine, but for some visitors, it's all a bit too much.
You get a few people who treat it as a bit of an Alton Towers ride. They want to be scared and scream and so on. The trouble with one scream is it soon escalates into more, and then the noise can become unbearable in here. So no, it's something you try and encourage people not to scream.
James will return shortly with the rest of the team to capture the baby and implant the microchip. At Chester Zoo, senior keeper Lara Jordan is about to introduce 3 West African crane chicks to their new foster mum, Sally, the hen.
The little feathers fluff up, and they look a bit bigger and fluffier and more like a bird chick.
In the absence of a natural mother, Sally will care for the newborns until they're old enough to fend for themselves.
The problem with the crane chicks is that they have quite an extraordinary call, which puts off some chickens. against foster rearing. However, she has actually reared a West African crown crane before, so we're confident then. We'll just have to watch her. I'll keep an eye on her, and I'll give her the opportunity to look at the chick, because they look quite strange compared to a chicken chick. And then I'll just keep coming back and checking.
It's time for some food, and for Sally to get a first proper look at her new brood.
So that's the hen. When she gets very excited, she goes beep, 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 beep. And she's just saying, there's some goodies here, come and get them.
Mealworms form part of a tempting dinner for the chicks.
We give live food because it's something that moves a lot, sort of attracts their eye and sort of encourages them to start feeding.
But at the moment, it seems that the youngsters are more interested in eating each other.
The problem with this species is that they fight a lot as siblings. So this is just the start of it. I'm hoping 3 will reduce the aggression rather than it one-on-one. It'll be mixed up between the group. Come on, Mum.
Sally will have her work cut out controlling her feuding foster chicks.
I can hardly walk, but they're fighting.
Head keeper Andy Lenihan and resident vet James Chatterton are checking up on Larry the Lima. When Larry went off his food, he was taken to the Animal Health Centre for tests. While Andy waited anxiously for news, James took blood samples and x-rays.
I think his stomach's a normal size, but there is this white object within that. This may or may not be significant.
They returned Larry to Lima Island, but Andy remained concerned for his future within the group.
It's very hard to put them back in the group sometimes. If they don't accept him, they'll just attack him, and they don't stop, they're relentless.
Today, Andy is pleased with how much Larry seems to have improved.
He looks a lot brighter today anyway. You know, his eyes are wide open. He's trying to get out, you know, we've given him access to outside now, so he's going outside and hopping around.
Making up for lost time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good to see. Even the last check I did on him, he was a bit more active, but his eyes were a bit sunken, he still looked a bit depressed, whereas now he looks much more bright-eyed.
He's also calling and stuff to the group and making noises, which he wasn't doing. He was just sitting in a heap, really. It's when they give up the problem is.
We're waiting for the blood results to come back, but his progress so far is pretty good on the medication that he's on. So I think we're going to give him another injection and probably keep him like this over the weekend.
Yeah.
The team works quickly to avoid causing Larry too much distress.
We're just going to give him his 2 injections now. That's the painkiller. This is the antibiotic. There we go. He's not feeling nearly as dehydrated as he was last time. And before, when I was feeling his guts, they were very, very empty, and I can feel lots of motions in there now. That's all promising.
James is feeling confident that Larry is making good progress.
It's obviously taken him a little while to get over his problem, and he was quite poorly to begin with. He had something that showed up on X-ray in his stomach, but that may well have been a bit of a red herring, okay, because he's now been eating and pooping, so whatever in his stomach we're surmising will have passed straight through.
Despite his relative isolation, Larry is interacting well with the other lemurs.
He's calling now and putting his arms through the wire, so he wants to get back with the group. It's quite encouraging to see him looking at the others, and the others are sitting on the roof of his cage, and fingers crossed he should go back all right.
All being well, Larry will be back with his friends in no time at all. Senior keeper James Andrews has returned to the bat cave to microchip the baby Rodrigues fruit bat.
Every time you catch that bat, you can blip it and you know who it is. We do put thumb rings on, plastic thumb rings with numbers and colours, so that from a distance we can, in theory, tell who they are. But they do have a habit of pulling them off and biting them off sometimes, so it's not 100% reliable. At least the microchip is reliable.
First, James has to catch Mum and the attached baby. It won't be easy, and the rest of the team arrives to help.
It's this one on the fence up here. Yeah? Yeah. OK. OK, she's moving across. Everyone keep an eye on her.
Despite their best efforts, Mum keeps one step ahead.
Might be a question of moving her along till she's out in the open more. Can you see her?
Senior keeper Joyce Dodd keeps an eye on the bat, whilst James moves between the trees.
Is that her going along? That is her, isn't it?
As the bats head for a new open area, James switches tactics,
Well, I'm going to go round the back and nip up and see if I can grab her that way.
leaving the net with keeper Craig Williams, just in case. James plans to capture mother and baby in his hands. Protective gloves will prevent any damage from Mum's sharp teeth.
Nice dramatic bat catch. Well, shall we have a look if it's a little boy or a little girl? And it's weeing all over the place. It's a girl. Craig, if you could relieve me of the new youngster. OK. Is Joyce or Paul gloved up? Could you take the mother? OK. They've got this very loose skin on the back, you can see, so we can just slide the microchip under that. So you get a big pinch there. And in it goes. Just check. That's the right number. Excellent.
Microchipping gives James a good opportunity to get up close and check that all is well with the newest member of Chester's Rodrigues colony.
That's the thumb. The other fingers are webbed to form the wing. So these thin structures here are all the fingers.
At the moment, the baby will
Push your
spend much
fingers
of her
up so like
time
that.
flapping her wings while
amazing,
hanging
isn't
from
it?
the roof of the cave. It will be a couple of weeks before she takes her first full flight.
Yeah.
Being out of the cave will be stressful, and James wants to return her and Mum as quickly as possible.
As soon as we come in here, they start to get much more active. They suddenly recognise it all again. What we're going to do, we're going to go over into the corner, pop them on a branch they can climb up, and as soon as we've let them go, we back away really fast. So if you want to go first, Joyce, and if you put Mum on, I'll pop Junior on straight after, and then we'll back straight off. OK? And go. You can see Junior's really piling up there. She's heading straight up to the roost. She's paused now to wait for Mum. The youngster's sufficiently independent that she'll be OK until Mum finds her.
The pup will remain close to Mum for the first year of its life, and James will also be on hand to make sure everything is OK. At the incubation centre, the crane chicks are growing fast. Today they'll venture outside for the first time, and senior keeper Laura Jordan is sending them off with a good feed.
They are just starting to kill their own locusts now. So at first, Mum kills them and drops them for them, but now they just chase after them and kill them themselves. So they're doing really well. The aggression's been much reduced, so that's been quite good as well, because I was a bit worried at first they might kill each other soon.
Senior veterinary nurse Karen Homer is on hand to make sure the chicks are well prepared for the next step of their lives.
We're going on to a paddock where we know we've had worm problems before, and it's the earthworms that carry these worms, so these guys will be eating the earthworms, potentially picking up parasite worms. So we just give them a quick dose of wormer before they go, just to make sure that they're safe once they're there. OK.
Head keeper Wayne McLeod is taking the chicks to their new enclosure with their new names.
And Gareth's got Rafa, there's Bill and there's Bob, before anyone gives them any daft names. We'll just be going past Mum and Dad's paddock now. I don't know whether you'll be able to see them.
The crane chicks have now bonded with Sally, the hen that's been acting as their foster mum, so they'll stay with her.
This is where we'll leave the birds initially, and they'll find their own way out. They'll go outside where there's a nice grassy paddock. They'll be out in an hour or so. We're just going to set up a heat lamp now. The room is heated, but with them being so young, we'll just put an additional heat lamp up, and they'll probably sit under it if the night it's really cold. We will leave them for now, and hopefully they'll come out in their own time. We don't like to chase them out, because obviously if we're chasing them, they forget where to go back in, so we'll leave them to go out in their own time.
Rafa is the first to emerge, closely followed by Bob and then Bill. Mum is now the smallest of the 4.
That's good. They've come out, so obviously they're quite happy with their surrounds, and hopefully the sun will stay up a little bit longer, so get a bit of sun on their backs.
Once the chicks are 5 months old, they'll go to another zoo as part of Chester's breeding programme. But for now, they're safe to grow and grow to their full potential.